Ah, right, okay. Guten Morgen, Facebook. Willkommen. Es ist heute Blabbing for Britain und er ist mein Freund Peter. Hello, Peter.
Hello, hello.
now, you actually started that by actually saying good morning in German as we actually got ready for the show.
Right, okay.
Now, obviously, do we need to learn German anymore?
Oh, absolutely. In Aberdeen, now many people are leaving Aberdeen engineers to go to Germany because that's where the work is.
All right, okay.
That's why they're learning German.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I mean, Germany welcomes people if they've got the right skills. So that's good. And we say good morning to everybody who's watching us. Just to confirm, welcome to the show. This is Blabbing for Britain, episode 161, and we're underway. We're awaiting Mr. Silk and, of course, Mr. John Upton, and just chatting whilst they arrive. But that's what we do anyway, so no change there. And I've got some topics for today. Okay. I'd just like your thoughts on this. It's only a one-word topic. I just wonder where it takes you.
Okay. Dyson.
Right. Background to the story is that Dyson is a manufacturer in the UK, although all the manufacturing is actually done outside the UK, but all the design products and all the innovation takes place in Malmesbury, in Wiltshire, not too far from where I am. And it was announced this week by Dyson that they're moving their production to Singapore. As we welcome a sideways, is right way up now, Stephen. As we welcome Stephen. So, your thoughts, Peter?
Well, he's British, and he's decided that he wants Britain to be a separate country again. Now, he's also a businessman. If you were selling mostly to Asia now in your facilities, he's taken his own commercial decision to move his production to a different part of the world, which will probably cut his transport costs long term. And he's taken a commercial decision, but he's still British, and he decided that he wanted Britain to be Britain, and he's also got his own commercial interest. What if things change and he wants to come back to Britain with his production? He won't have all the EU regulations then, by the looks of it. So it's just completely a commercial decision that if you decide you want your country to be free of restrictions and you move your production to Asia, good luck, Tom.
Good morning, Stephen.
Hiya, mate. How are you? Morning, Peter.
Morning.
I do love talking to Peter. He's actually changing the nationality of his company. It's not about production; it's about headquarters. So he's not got a very good press of late as old Dyson, claiming or actually being a British company, but outsourcing everything to the Far East, I think. And it's kind of like this sort of the final piece of not being a British company is to headquarter in Singapore. So I don't actually agree with what Pete says, but it's a view, and we've both got views, which is what you want to see on this show, Stephen. You want to see
it is
robust discussions.
All I've got to say is, if you're over in Venezuela just now, watch for that shot zinging past you at the moment. I worry for you.
Venezuela's not on my target list, Pete. I don't know if it's on yours, but it doesn't sound very. It sounds like it's South America, isn't it? The Yanks have recognised the new
president.
They've recognised as the battery. Bloody hell! They've recognised the opposition leader, haven't they, as the president? Yeah. And the president, the actual president, has said all Yanks can go home, and America is saying no, we don't recognise. It doesn't sound very encouraging, does it? I mean, do we export much to Venezuela? Do we bring much in from that?
I'm not sure. It's one of these countries we don't hear anything about whilst things are going reasonably well. I mean, they're an oil-rich country, aren't they?
Yes.
Theoretically.
Yeah.
They're oil-rich, and their people are starving. And
Really?
yes, if you look at it, the people are starving. There's not enough to go around. It's a socialist state that has collapsed. Now they're shooting people in the streets. The military are shooting people in the streets. And thanks to live broadcasting, we can watch it. Although they have been throttling the bandwidths and everything, cutting down the internet. But that is happening. So it's a dictatorship.
Well, he's been in power 20 years, hasn't he?
I don't know too much about Venezuela, but I remember a guy that used to play games with online, and he was from there. And I says, "If you're not got to be careful what you say," because he hated his government, and it was what's it, Chavez or something like that. You know?
No, Chavez is a different country.
No, he.
Yeah. Morning, John.
Yeah. Good morning. Just as I sat down, flipping doorbell went. I can only see the top of.
Everybody's looking good.
Stafford's head.
Everybody's looking good.
I see more of his sunroof.
John,
I think.
Everybody's looking good. It's a feature on your screen. The actual output, which I've checked a moment ago, is good. I've had shows where which I've been producing, where the host of the show said, "I can only see half of Anita," and she can only see half of Anita, but we can see Anita's face in full. So that there are no problems. There are just internet glitches, even in this third year of BeLive.tv, and they only happen very occasionally. Thank goodness. Anyway, John, we got over to Venezuela. Is that right?
All right. Well, what's happened in Venezuela? I haven't even looked at the BBC today, so.
Right. Okay.
The people have taken to the streets. If you look on the internet, you'll see masses on the street, and Trump has declared that he recognises the opposition as the president. People are on the streets en masse. They're starving, and basically he's cut the internet, but mobile shots are and people are getting shot in the streets.
That's not Aberdeen, John. That's Venezuela.
No, Venezuela. Yeah. Coming to a street near us shortly.
That's your prediction, isn't it?
That's Alex Salmon coming to a street. Oh, sorry, a police station near you.
He's been arrested.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a big friend of yours, isn't he, Pete?
Is he? No. I've met the guy.
You know, I'm looking at the BBC and there's absolutely nothing about Venezuela on the front page.
Fake news.
You think somebody like the BBC would be letting you know, wouldn't you?
Well, not really. Not because they're a huge right-wing, left-wing consultancy.
Conspiracy.
They're left-wing.
Yeah, they're out to get you, Pete.
So is Venezuela.
You're not booked a holiday there, then?
Yeah, no. So Alex Salmond's been arrested. He won his case against the Scottish government, which is so embarrassing because they didn't. Information was leaked, and it didn't go the proper way. But the other big thing is, did Nicola Sturgeon know about it, and did you have a meeting beforehand with him? And this is the big one. Did they try to cover it up, etc.?
Well, I mean, there is that, but the most important thing, of course, is that they have arrested him, and that's more important than what happened in the background until after he's actually had a trial, which fortunately we do have in the UK, a fair trial, as opposed to a media trial. John, I keep hearing clunking and things. Is it safe to bring you back on?
At my end.
Oh, right. Okay. Who's clinking cups? Never mind.
I've got a cup, but I haven't picked it up during the entire thing so far.
Right.
You stand accused, John, of making noises.
How
do you please?
I've got my cup, but it don't really clink.
I tell you, that is the sound we heard.
Indeed it is.
We find you guilty.
Yeah, it's on the recording, John. or Peter.
What's next?
I don't know what is next. I just want to float an idea by you, revolutionary as it is, and whilst Tish is watching as well. When John has a chance, we'd like to do an update on Celia, please, John, and then.
Well, Celia went into hospital on Tuesday, 7:45. They did an ECG. They then took her down to theatre, and although it's not really a theatre, it's just a small hygienic area, kicked me out, saying I'm not allowed to be there. And at 12:20, I got a call from her to say everything had happened, and they put her under, put a pad on the back and a paddle on the front, and shocked her twice to stop and restart her heart. So then, while she was still under, did another ECG, and they compared it to the before, and there was no sign of the flutter.
Oh, that's good.
So they gave her the injection that brings you back round, and then after a while, when she was, truly conscious, they did another ECG and compared again. And the good news is that it's doesn't appear to be there. She looked like she'd been run over by a bus, and she was so tired it wasn't true. But she still managed a big, huge, bowl-sized coffee at Costa.
I've seen that. And who had the one with the marshmallows and stuff?
She's obviously feeling better now. It hasn't made a great deal of difference to her yet. They said it would take about a week before she would really notice the difference. It's not an instant change. She has to go back in 5 months, end of May, whatever that is, 4 or 5 months, and have it checked, and she will see the GP between now and then. The only downside is that the statistics are that these up to 37% of them return within the first 4 months. So we have to see where we go. But other than that, it's a lot better because it's over and done with, more importantly, because I was worried about it.
Yeah.
Good on you. Good on you. Best of wishes to her, mate. Best of wishes.
And best wishes from Wiltshire as well for continued recovery. And right, okay.
Yes,
now
I'll see the Costa Cups. Yes. Can you hear me?
We can hear you and see you, Peter. Yeah.
I'm saying, who had the big cup with the marshmallows on the top?
Me.
Ah, there you go. Don't you worry about diabetes?
Pete, it's probably about 4 months since I previously had the marshmallows on the cup.
Right. Well, you certainly made
it's not like I have it daily. Yeah.
So they're a treat, John. An occasional treat.
Well, the thing is, I don't drink tea or coffee, so in there, it's hot chocolate or the world's most expensive soup. Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay. Right.
I mean, they have a tiny little packet of soup, like these little sippy drinks you get in Orange and that. And it's £3.75. And I think to myself, who made that? Did they grow the stuff, and gold plate it,
No, it was in China, almost certainly in China.
Everything's made in China.
Yeah. Although no,
everything.
Oh, anyway.
Everything is most definitely made in China. Anyway, I just want to float an idea by you guys, and Tish is here so she can know as well. How do you feel about moving the time?
Sorry, I got over that.
Say again.
How do you feel about moving the time of the show to 12 o'clock?
Ooh,
no,
yeah.
Can't do.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I would. I would be okay with that. I've managed to organise meetings that start at 10:30 on a Thursday, so I'm going to try and change that. But yeah, I'm happy to change. Yeah, I'm happy. It's up to the rest of them.
Why has this been asked?
Principally because we could potentially be able to talk to our American friends at 7 o'clock their time rather than 5 o'clock. I'm aware of people actually getting up at 5 o'clock to watch us.
Yeah, the problem I've personally got is that I actually sit back till 10 o'clock, and if I go out and do something else, you won't see me.
No, and that will probably be true of me because I go and visit somebody normally after this.
Right.
But my battery's dying now, and I've got to go to my customer. I'll try and pop on later on, but in the meantime, have a fab one, guys.
Thank you, Stephen.
Take care.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, I just thought I'd float the idea. If it's a non-runner, then no problem. Right. Okay, moving onwards then. And it is difficult to come up with good news stories at the moment. So I've got this one, but our science correspondent has just left. The UK team have drilled a record hole in the West Antarctic. 2 kilometers deep, which is the world record.
Did they find anything?
Ice, baby.
True. I mean, the thing is, what they do is they actually take the what they in the hole out in a cylinder, and then they can go back through time and see what's happened to the ice over millennia, and from that they can work out how is there any way that they can actually prevent the ice melting as it is at the moment. Ice. So it's for research purposes, but it's got practical reason in that they want to stop the ice melting.
Could you imagine if it came up and there was a body inside it and it melted? Once it melted, I would say, "Where have you been? We've been waiting millions of years for you. What took you so long?"
What if there are dinosaurs in there and they can clone them?
Yeah. Amazing.
And there's a lot of sci-fi stuff involved here. A lot of films been made about monsters at the Arctic and Antarctic. So just to note that the research is going on to, hang on, wrong story. Research is going on to try and slow the melting of the ice. And Tish is saying she doesn't mind being up at 4 o'clock to watch us. Blabbing for a bit, and this is the only group Tish is here at 4 o'clock for. And it's the only one she gets up at that time. Thank you, Tish. So if Tish is good, then that's 3 votes against 2. All good. Right. Okay. John, what's happening in Solihull at the moment?
Not heard about our fantastic poster for Rory.
No.
Only yards from my house. One of these Brexit groups put a Boris Johnson poster with Boris Johnson in the corner and a quote from him made to look like a tweet that said, "Fuck business." Nothing covering it, just fuck business. And lots of ladies on Monday morning were very, very upset that their children had to walk past this poster. We're talking a giant poster. It turns out this Led by Donkeys, which is the name of the organisation, put it up themselves. And in fact, I actually walked past them when walking the dog when they would do it, but I never looked at it.
Right.
There's about 9 within, because it's right by the station, there's about 9 poster sites, and they're always changing them. And yes, they quite often do them as late 11. I've even seen them once changing them at 1 o'clock in the morning. But it was these group of renegades, and they put it on a poster sign thing that didn't belong to them, that was supposed to actually have a Sky poster on it. Anyway, one of the ladies rang the owners because they've got their name and number in the bottom corner, and they sent a man out, and by 11:30 it had gone. So it was only up for about 12 hours, but it was, pretty blatantly rude.
So what's the backlash in them being? Is it a Latin moment for them or what?
Well, I haven't quite tried to work out what Led by Donkeys is, but it's a hashtag that these people are using and the name of their group. But they're Brexit supporters. But I can't work out if they're supposed to be Brexit supporters, why they're running Boris Johnson down.
Well, that's what I'm trying to work out as well. You know, interesting.
So yeah, so that hit the headlines all over the place, and honestly, literally,
Look at
it's anti-Brexit. Okay, well, I thought it was pro-Brexit.
Anti-Brexit campaign. Trolling put up with that. So it's anti-Brexit people that done it.
Well, it's confusing. That's it there, and that is about 300 yards from our house, 350 yards max.
You know,
that's next door to number 16, and I live at number 50.
There you go. Do you know, it's getting strange. Talking about all this. There's been mention of the Queen getting involved. Do you think that would happen?
No, I don't think she would get involved at all.
But can she not?
She does have the power to dissolve Parliament.
Yeah, no, what would happen then?
Yeah, a general election.
Okay.
Well, no, Parliament is suspended.
Right.
Nobody can vote. They can't pass any of the legislation required to allow us to leave the EU, because it's not just it happens on the 29th of March. There have to be certain conditions, certain acts of Parliament passed before it can actually go ahead. And then it comes up with one of my favourite words, and I've spelt it correctly. It's called prorogue,
right,
which is where the King or Queen dissolves Parliament at the request of the Prime Minister, and Parliament just doesn't sit and nothing happens. We could say that that's probably true of now. What's been happening in the last 9 months has all been about Brexit. All the running of the country has been done by civil servants, and government have been tied up with Brexit. But that's a good word, and it's very rarely used. It's only used whenever somebody wants to suspend Parliament.
And has it ever happened before?
I'll check, Peter.
Well, I've got something else. While you're doing that, I've got something interesting to say as well. I was listening to the radio this morning. Somebody came up, Article 24, and it involves the World Trade Organization. It says that if we can go on the World Trade Organization, and for the next 10 years, Europe has still got to deal with us the way things are at the moment until we come to some agreement. So we can actually go on the WTO, and it is for the next 10 years that things can carry on as they are until we sort things out.
Now, if we end up with a revote, are you going to take to the streets with your guns and create civil unrest?
No, absolutely not, because I've seen what it can do to people. Yeah.
Well, that's her latest argument against a new vote, is that it will cause civil unrest.
But we've had civil wars in this country before, and if we've ever been near it, the time is now. Especially in Northern Ireland, we've had a bomb already. So we're living in really, really dangerous times, you know.
We are, and normally we only ever see the what's happening from a UK point of view. I was over in Dublin last weekend, and the Prime Minister of the Dublin government, the Irish government, was at the Facebook Gather event, and she talked for about 20 minutes about Brexit. So I got Brexit from an Irish point of view. And they have really accept the will of the British people. If that's what we want, then all fair play to us. But in terms of the border between Northern Ireland and Eire, they've not done any planning whatsoever. They just didn't think it was ever going to happen. And if we do leave on the 29th, then there's a hell of a mess, because if we leave with no agreement, then straight away a border has to go up. If we leave with the agreement, then there's 9 month grace period. So from the Irish point of view, and from the Irish people's point of view, because later on in the day there was a television discussion, much like Question Time, their version of it, and the lady who had been speaking at the Facebook event in the morning was actually on there, and she didn't have a leg to stand on because, as I say, the government hasn't done anything about it. And you had farmers there, you had a whole range of different industries represented, all saying, well, this is a, I'm not going to repeat the word, but the Irish are not happy with us.
Mm-hmm. Well, the thing is, Britain have said, we're not going to put up a border. Ireland says, we're not going to border. You know who'll tell them to put up a border? The EU. And then they'll say, well, you better give us the money for it in the EU. Because it's them that want it up, if it happens, if we go. They will force it on Ireland to put up a border.
There are 200 crossing points between Northern and Southern Ireland. Now, can you imagine how long it would take to put physical barriers there?
During the Troubles, I think it was the main areas that had border crossings and customs posts, but it wasn't them all. It wasn't them all. All they had was patrols, soldiers patrolling, police patrolling, customs. It's a bit like our American friends just now. There are areas that are open, and if people want to come in illegally, and if people want to take contraband through, it will happen, because it happened before when it was a hard border. They still got through if they wanted. But it's I mean, it doesn't really. It's hard for us to sit here and say what can happen, because we're not living there. But I do live in Scotland, and it was put the question to say, look, I've got a friend of mine that wants Brexit to go ahead, because if Brexit goes ahead, they get their chance to get a free Scotland again. And if we get a free Scotland, then we'll have a border between Scotland and England. Because if we join,
You've already got one, Peter. It's called Hadrian's Wall. All you need to do is rebuild it.
Yeah, a real border, because they said, oh, we're getting into the EU. The EU said they was letting in. As far as I was concerned, they had to take their turn and join, build up their country, have their money, and then become the euro, hand their army over to Europe in 2022, become a federal state. So they would have to put up a border between Scotland and England as per the rules. What do you think? And then
I think the whole thing is a mess.
And they say to Brussels, we don't have the troops to do this in the border of Britain. Oh well, we'll send our European army over, and if the English
neither Ireland or proposed Scottish wall will need to involve troops, because it's customs officials who actually do it rather than the army. I mean, our army is stretched thin enough as it is, and for it to actually be active in two areas. Okay. Now, of course, the reason they don't want the physical border between Northern and Southern Ireland is because of the Troubles 30 years ago, which did involve the army. And John.
I just want to go back to how it used to be. I was quite happy before all this stupidity started.
No, I have a question for you about the people in Dublin. About why are they so angry, the Irish people, against us? Because we voted.
The Irish, there was on the Monday evening there was an event, and 350 people invited by Facebook, and there was music all night. And like all places, there was security on the door. This is a story, by the way. Security on the door, and the lady in charge of security came out afterwards, partway through the event, for a chat. And she came up in the smoking area, of course, which is where you meet all the best people. And she said they do not love their government. They do not love their prime minister. They don't respect anybody who's in power in Ireland. They're all a bunch of something. And there is just, the people don't like the government they've got.
Okay.
So it sounds familiar, really.
Did she say why?
Because they are, right, in her words, the government are elitist and have no knowledge of what real life is like They can pay themselves fat risers. They can give tax rebates to large companies, but they can't look after people who can't look after themselves, if you know what I mean. So in other words, they ignore that is poverty in Ireland, same as poverty in the UK, and they just get on with the job of jobs for the boys, and they don't seem to care. They're too far removed from it. They've no knowledge of it. They've come up through the Irish universities or even our universities. Absolutely. And they've got the education, but they don't have the real world nous.
Well, it's funny. Last night I watched a true story about a guy called Martin Cahill. He was a criminal, and he broke into banks with his gang and everything. Eventually, he was shot by the IRA in Dublin, seemingly. And he ran rings around the police and the politicians and everything. It was actually quite a funny film to watch. I suggest you have a good look at it if you're into all that. But his big mistake was he stole valuable paintings and he sold them to the UVF, the Ulster Volunteer Force, which the IRA weren't happy about. It was quite interesting, and he came to a sticky end. But it just shows you, no matter what country that you're in, they've all got their own personal problems. They've all got their nationalists. They've got their elitists. And I don't think after whatever happens, if it settles them, I don't think politicians will ever be trusted again. What do you think?
I think it's gone quiet. Is somebody's computer rebooting?
Somebody's making a noise.
No.
It's a rebooting of the computer like now.
No, that's incoming mail, and the problem is if you've got Office 365, even if you close Outlook, it still brings the incoming mail.
It's very loud, that's what it is.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, so, it's melodic but loud, unfortunately. And Tisha's saying it does seem like ignorance without educating oneself on what's going on where we live. Indeed.
No, but go back to the question. What were the Irish farmers and everything? Why didn't they like us? Because we voted to come out of Europe. What are they saying? Because it's a shame because they have to get a lot of goods through Britain to get to Europe now.
They want to be connected to the UK. They want to be no border at all. They want to be able to trade as they have done for the last 40 odd years.
Right. So we've said we're quite happy for that to carry on. Who's stopping it? European Brussels is stopping it.
Well, the mere fact of ERA being part of the EU is bringing about the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we can agree on that. Shall we move on? Yeah. But let's stay in Dublin, shall we? Okay. I was fortunate last week to be invited to Facebook Gather in Dublin. Now, this is where Facebook invite 350 businesses from around Europe and the UK to actually meet in Ireland with the Irish. And it's a 3-day event, travel over on the Sunday, and flights paid for by Facebook. Arrive at a hotel paid for by Facebook for 350 people. I can tell you that the flight was £150, staying in the hotel £130 a night. So that's £400 a head. Quick bit of maths is it cost Facebook 1.4 million before anybody got to the conference. So, but this is the best exercise in actually reaching out to business, helping them, and creating people who will talk about Facebook on their live video shows on a Thursday morning at 10:30 to say how wonderful Facebook are. I got that in. Facebook are wonderful. The day itself was split into, it was Facebook Gather. I'll go full screen for this. I rarely go full screen. So there's Facebook Gather, which was in Ireland from the 20th to 22nd of January. And Mike Turner, who John and I know, organised a group of 55 businesses in the UK who could get to know each other before we went, and got on famously whilst we were there. So a lot of real world networking took place as everybody was already connected in some way. The morning itself, we actually had presentations by, I'm just going to remind myself of the names because I don't want to make too many mistakes. By Helen McEntee, Mark Pollock, Sonia Lennon, and importantly, by two gentlemen who actually, Matt Clifton, who looks after small, medium businesses for Facebook globally, and Karen Quilty, who runs Facebook Ireland. And we're also joined by Sheryl Sandberg. Now, this was the highlight of the morning, Sheryl Sandberg arriving. Sheryl Sandberg is the Chief Operations Officer of Facebook. So not too far below Mark Zuckerberg in the Facebook hierarchy. She's been there since 2009. She's seen the number of employees of Facebook go by 800% since she's been there. And obviously the profitability has gone up as well. She gave an insight as to what Facebook are actually going to be looking into and want to promote in 2019, and they are the following: Facebook groups, Facebook Messenger, and WhatsApp. Those are the three areas in which they're going to concentrate. They're going to tie Messenger more closely with groups, groups more closely with pages, and they're there to help and promote businesses. And half her presentation was an apology, which I'll pass on now. Mm-hmm. Facebook apologized for everything that happened in 2018 and before. They know that there have been problems, some of their own they caused, and they apologize profusely for that. In terms of fake news, which is a problem, they're employing an additional 1,000 staff who will be based in Dublin, which is obviously good news for the Dublin economy. And they will put in place systems which, well, effectively identify fake news and act more quickly. In fact, we've got something that's happened in the UK, which I'll come back to. And the afternoon was taken up by 4 workshops. And in addition to that, there were stands from every aspect of Facebook was represented by a stand. So there's Facebook Messenger there. And I didn't go to one of the sessions. I just went over to the Facebook Messenger stand and spent half an hour talking to them about Facebook Messenger and Messenger bots and the live video hub, and explaining what a live video hub was all about, and saying that Facebook did a brilliant thing last May when they brought out live cross posting, because it made my day and it's changed my life. So that was the afternoon session, and then it's back to the hotel for the big event in the evening. So 350 people in what is effectively a ballroom, free bar all night, top quality restaurant serving food, finger bowl food. So, but I was been there about an hour, and I got this tap on my shoulder. I turned around, and he said, "Hello, Stephen. My name's Wade, and I'm from Facebook, and I am the Facebook marketing person. You won't find me on Facebook. I'm not on there, but I look after everything that's marketing on Facebook." And he was the only person I was the only person he spoke to. So it was the highlight of my day that I've now got a contact high up in Facebook on a business footing, which I'm going to sort of use in taking the live video hub forward. Right, this is Stephen Healey from Dublin signing out. It was a fantastic event, amazing 3 days, and I'll go again, thank you, if you'll invite me.
Was it 3 days? No one know where my advertising money has went. Just in case you're listening to Facebook, I do spend money on advertising with you. You never to see people. Oh,
your 3 and 4 pence a year.
Yeah,
is what they're looking for.
I could grow with Facebook for all you know.
Yeah. So, in fact, I tried to find something to give you a flavour of it. Just a second. I suppose I could play the video next week. I'll play the video next week.
Just remind me, what are you playing the video on? What platform? If you were going to play the video.
Right-click on the video, opening Google Chrome, opens a tab, share the tab.
Share the tab on Be Live.
Be Live. Yeah.
I've forgotten it all, but there you go. Well, that's good that they've noticed you. That means they've noticed me, is it?
I should have mentioned Blabbing for Britain. I knew I'd missed something out. I was concentrating on the live video.
You were going to come back to something about the UK, you said.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, about fake news. Kelly saying you heard the words free bar. Morning, Kelly. Right. Yeah, this happened yesterday. It was announced yesterday. Facebook giving us, in the UK, a new button, which only we can use. In America and Canada, you won't be able to see this button, so you just have to take our word for it. If you see an advert, and that advert is spam, you think it's spam, then you can report it as spam just by clicking one button. No questions asked. Just press the button, and it will be reported as spam. The gentleman called James, who runs the free site, finance advice. Oh, right. Okay. It's a gentleman in the UK who runs a site, which is all about free financial advice. Sorry?
Martin Smith, is it? Martin?
Not yet. We're close, but I don't think we're totally there. What happened was that last year, somebody...
It's moneysavingexpert.com guy. Martin
That's
Lewis.
the one. That's the one. Somebody
remember the Martin bit.
Yeah. Somebody spoofed him and then said, press this link to save money. But it was an advert, and the advert went to a financial organization who were after your cash, which is not what Money for Saving Expert is about. It's about saving you money, not taking money from you. And he went to court and he won. So it's the reason that we're getting this advert spam button is solely down to him. Well, his actions. Yeah. So we'll be able to report spam adverts.
They put $3 million into a fund for it as well. A scam fund over 3 years. I was reading about it, you know. I don't think he actually finished this court case. I think he came to an agreement with them.
All right. Okay. Okay.
Hey, talking about court cases.
Yeah.
I won. I beat a company that was trying to charge me for parking in a place. You know, do you get these tickets that they try and take you for pay now and it'll be 60 quid, and then they tried 140, then they tried the taking me to court. And I looked on moneysavingexpert.com, and they've got to know who the driver is before they can take you to court. Did you know that?
Nope.
So they've got to know who the driver is, and my vehicles are hired, which they knew, so they chased me because I'm the hirer of it. I says, hey, unfortunately, yes, I hire the vehicle, but it's a pool vehicle, and anybody can be driving. Sometimes the man goes out in two, and there can be two people in the van, and they all can drive, and we take turns of driving. And I'm sorry, I can't give you the name of the driver. And I got an immediate letter back saying, case kind of dismissed. But we'll take it no further.
So you didn't actually get to court, they gave up?
No, they gave up because they've got to give the name to the driver. Whereas if you get something for the police, you've got by law to tell who the driver is. A notice of intent, so it's quite funny. I was just tickled pink.
I've had two of them and beaten both of them.
Pardon?
The first one was because my mum was with Celia when the ticket was issued, but the car belonged to me. And once I sent a photocopy of her blue badge to Aldi, they instructed the people to discontinue the case. And the second one, they said I hadn't signed the entered my number into the screen at the back of the store, and I explained to them that their system hadn't actually gone live and they were still installing the screens on the day that I visited. And they came and they said, well, this is not true. So I rang the same lady that had dealt with Mum's ticket, who does nothing other than talk to people about car parking. She rang the manager, and the manager confirmed that the system had not gone live on that date. So Aldi instructed them to cease pursuing the matter.
Very good. Sharks, that's what they are, sharks. And it's an invoice, not a fine.
Well, I mean, it used to be a massive thing round here of getting your car clamped.
Yes, aye.
But we hardly ever hear about that anymore.
It's illegal now. It's illegal.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it was never an issue.
Yeah, well, it is. It was always illegal in Scotland, but not in England. Because one of the best days I had in London is watching people getting clamped. It was so funny seeing their reaction.
Yeah, we still see quite a lot of DVLA clamping going on where there's no tax and it's on the road.
Yeah, they're the only ones. Okay, I'll get back to Steve and let him take over again. See what he wants to speak about.
I never take over. I just let the show flow most of the time.
Sorry?
Right. Okay. Now, our cousins across the Atlantic still have this situation.
Oh, what a standoff that is.
Well,
it is, isn't it?
Trump didn't delay the State of the Union address. She's refused to allow him to make it.
No, she suggested that he wouldn't make it because of the shutdown.
Have you not read the letter?
Yes.
The letter clearly says he cannot make it until people go back to work properly.
Yeah.
Well, to me, that's common sense, because how can you address the nation when you've got 800,000 people not getting paid to do a job, and it's partly your doing. What I'll never understand is this horse trading that takes place in the US financial system, where they have a bill going through Parliament and through the House, and it's for taxes or it's for something for the country, and then they can add things to it which have no relation to what's actually being done. Yeah, I mean, in the UK, I know it goes on to a smaller extent, but if there's a bill for housing, then nobody would attack a bill attached to that something about transport. So why is it such a convoluted process in the States?
Because they're both is a word that we are stubborn as each other. Nancy Pelosi wants to show that she can beat Donald Trump, and Donald Trump is saying, I'm having that wall. Now, if he gets the money for that wall and puts that wall up, right, like every other president said they would, if he gets that wall up, they know they're finished at the next election, because that was one of his biggest pledges, and there's no way do they want that wall going up. That is the problem. Unfortunately, people have had to suffer for it. And yes, possibly every president has, what's the name of it? Suspended the workforce as such. But they've all done it. It's just that Trump's done it a bit longer than the others. They've all used it to get their own way. Every one of them.
I'm not saying there are innocent parties in this. They're all as bad as each other, because they all use the same techniques.
Suspend Parliament and still pay them. That would sort them out. Or the Senate, and still pay them.
Well, the Senate would make sure that they got paid, come hell or high water. One law for them. It's just like Parliament again. It's just like Ireland. It's just like the UK. Nobody likes the government.
No.
Or the president.
And so it's quite interesting.
Okay.
There's going to be a winner. Or there's going to be a compromise. They've got to have a compromise. That's the answer to it. Compromise. They've got to have a compromise. But they won't give them that wall.
Nope.
Do you think you'll be able to do it in a state of emergency and say, listen, terrorists have come through and want that wall up? Do you think that will happen?
As soon as he declares a state of emergency, then there were people in court trying to stop him, and that could go on for months or years. Yeah, there would be because there would be people who would take him to court and say, right, okay, and there'd be injunctions saying you can't do it until this court case has been settled one way or another, and it just be slowed down. And it could take 2 years to, I'm just guessing here, could take 2 years, by which time.
I've never been so frustrated with the world in all my life. It's just, I'm just sick of it. But you never would hear me saying that. I really am.
Well, it's basically, let's just look at it as it is at the moment. I mean, France is a basket case at the moment.
Yeah.
The president they elected has not done what the ticket he came in on. No. He's, again, the people who can least afford it are actually losing out. Mm-hmm. I've got some love from Tish. Oh, no, that's directed at Kelly. Okay, I'm going to decide it. Yeah. I mean, there isn't a single country you could pick out where there aren't some problems.
Even
Spain,
Canada,
Italy.
Problems. The Canadian Prime Minister is just letting everybody in there, and it's causing problems there too. You know, they're just walking through from the United States, coming over. Police were waiting for them. Do you know you're entered illegally? Do you want to claim political asylum on that bus? And that's what's happening there. And
right. Okay. Kelly, could you, if you, I'm not forcing you to, but do you support the Canadian president? Yeah or nay, or I'm not saying, doesn't matter, but it'd just be good to know, to ask your opinion, because if you asked us our opinion of our current Prime Minister, there would be a heated discussion taking place here. Right. Okay, now to things international, and this does matter, obviously not to us, but in the last couple of days, Bing search has been made inaccessible in China. Now, Google went that way 18 months ago. You can't do a Google search if you're in China, even if you're a foreigner. And Bing has been shut down now.
What did they say wrong? Did they say something wrong?
Basically, I don't know. But I mean, this is shutting down search engines so that the people don't have access to knowledge by searching for it. Mm-hmm. But obviously, they would have their own search engines, wouldn't they? But the Google and Bing search engines would give us our version of the truth on any given topic.
And they can't complain because a lot of search engines, etc., and other platforms, if they don't like what someone's saying, they shut them down. So they can't complain. Because they sit there on their high horse and shut that one down. Yeah. Like, remember the Google employee that left because he said something wrong?
Yep.
They shut him out. Mm. So there you go. You've got to be able to take it yourself.
Right, time for our 60-second football spot.
Well, just a nice time for my phone to ring. Take me off, please.
Okay. Right, so Peter disappears. John and I talk about football for a moment. The Clerics are still doing well. 3 wins and a draw in succession. Now,
I don't know that one.
Thank you. Thank you. I don't know that one either. Burnley are now on 22 points, along with 2 other teams, and 1 win would take them up 2 more places to mid-table. And I think it's fair to say that we should stay up this season. John,
didn't you get your score where all 3 goals were scored by the opposition? Hasn't that changed?
It has changed, yes. It's now changed. It can no longer be a quiz question on pub quiz night, which team won 2-1, but the other team scored all the goals. That is no longer a question because one of the goals was awarded by the FA to one of the Burnley team.
Yeah, the Burnley player wasn't on the pitch at the time, but he's been awarded the goal. So, what's your thoughts on referee inconsistency?
Okay, it can't exist.
Well, but Klopp didn't get sent off, but Dispirito de Santa got sent off for going on the pitch.
Right. Yeah. Now, just staying with football for a moment. Did you see anything?
You don't have an opinion on why one gets sent off and the other one doesn't?
No. Right, I just
They
want to
both got fined the same amount of money, by the way. They both pled guilty and got fined £8,000.
Right. I just want to go sideways.
Well, I was just going to say that the truth is, though, the referee got a bollocking for not sending Klopp off, which is why he did send Nuno off.
Right. Football related. Cardiff have a player who's presumed missing and no longer with us. And I was watching television yesterday, and somebody had got hold of a taped transmission that he did prior to the plane crashing, and it was played relentlessly on television. And obviously he's missing, presumed dead. What are your thoughts on actually playing that message live on news? Do you find it macabre?
The news channels think of no one else but themselves. If it doesn't work out for them, they then backtrack. That's what they do. They've no feelings. All they want interested in is ratings.
Yeah, there's no empathy there, Peter, is there?
No, they're not worried about. They're not worried about people's feelings. They just want to get the news out before someone else. That's what they want to do.
It was a member of his family, though, that released it.
For money?
No one knows the answer to that question, do they? They also interviewed his dad as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is the BBC we're talking about.
Yeah, I know. It's obviously it's unfortunate, and the story coming out is incredible.
The big chucking away the emotional side of things.
Mm-hmm.
Are Cardiff liable for the payments that are to be made because he hadn't actually joined them?
That's another hard one. I know he paid for the aeroplane himself. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't want to go from Nantes to Paris, from Paris to London, and London to Cardiff.
And the pilot
he paid a bloke from Norfolk to fly him direct.
The guy says I'm a bit rusty at this.
Oh yeah.
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 And I said, really? But I'm not going to. Yeah. So that's what happened. He was a part-time pilot, seemingly.
Right. Okay. Tish is admitting that she's a funny girl. Kelly is saying nay for Trump, and Tish loves your sense of humour, John. On that positive note,
crazy Lexi. That's what I'd like to know. Tish says crazy Lexi. I call her. Lots of love.
Okay, you're okay, Kelly. Thank you for joining us anyway. Really appreciate it.
Already.
Right, it is. John, it's over to you, sir.
Already?
There already. Pete's bored. He needs somebody to stay. Where's your sling, Pete?
Oh, it's off now, but I'm still got a sore arm. Yeah.
But you haven't got to wear your sling.
No, I've just got. I'm actually driving again now because I can do that, but it's more going backwards. It's a problem. The DVLA says as long as you can swerve from another car, you're fine.
Right. Apparently it's Alexa that's Mad Lexi or whatever.
Yeah, Alexa can't hear you, John, so we're safe.
Sorry, I don't know.
Okay, Google. Google, yeah. What's the time, Okay,
Here are
Google.
some things that you can do when your phone's offline.
Hey, here's a thing. I'm going to have to look at it. I asked it to name me a pest control business in Aberdeen that came up with a competitor. So I'm going to
Good.
have to try and work on that. I think you can do something to get your own name there.
You just got to be at the top of the Google search rankings.
Keep telling you, keep working on that Google page. It's the most important thing in your armory.
Right.
And the most important thing on the Google page is good reviews. Anyway, it's 11:01, so it's goodbye from the middle of the country. It's goodbye from the southwest. And it's goodbye from some poor fella in that strange country that sits on top of us called Scotland, and that fishing village called Aberdeen. So that's goodbye from us all.
Goodbye.
All
See you next week. Take care. At 10 o'clock, we've voted on. Okay. That's a